Hey, well, this is Zacchaeus with another live word of the day. God bless, God bless. Thanks for tuning in. And today, I want to share some terrible news coming out of Morgan State College. Some shooting that happened. Check this out.
Talk with him in just a moment. But first, I just want to let people know exactly where this happened. It happened in the scene behind me here, right in front of Thurgood Marshall Residence Hall. And it happened as the Murphy Fine Arts Center, which I am facing right now, was packed to capacity for homecoming activities. There were hundreds of people inside. There were people outside milling about when those shots were fired. And for a time, they thought this might have been an active shooter. Police, Baltimore City Police involved, Morgan State University Police, along with the
Crazy,
FBI and
crazy.
ATF, did an extensive search of the building behind me here, and they determined that no one was inside. But at this point, it's not clear how many shooters may have been involved in this situation last night. Can you imagine getting that phone call that this university where your child goes has had this sort of situation happen? That is exactly what Jose Verdejo faced last night. And you drove from New Jersey to get your freshman daughter.
Yes.
You heard from a family friend that
Nightmare.
this happened.
Yes.
What went through your mind?
Oh, it was a jarring phone call. I was automatic. You just automatically call your child and pray that they're okay.
You drove from New Jersey. You felt very strongly you wanted to come and get your kid.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So sad. It's
Not only
crazy.
just come get her, but to be here with her.
She's a freshman. She was in the library at the time. You actually had to tell her what was happening. She hadn't had a notice yet.
No, no. She didn't know.
You
She
gotta
when I
pray
called
everywhere
her,
you
she said
go. You gotta pray.
they weren't letting her out the library, letting the students out of the library, and I told her there was an active shooter. So then I could hear her turn around and tell like the rest, oh, there's a shooting, because she said they didn't hear gunshots from the library. So I told her to stay away from the windows, and then I told her I'm gonna call you back. I called my wife and said we have to head out to the school. Then I called my daughter, let her know we were on her way.
How is she doing?
She's okay. She's afraid to go back to her room right now. She's a little anxious.
And as a parent, you let your daughter go away to school, then you get a call like this.
Oh, it's a
You're not happy
nightmare.
right now.
Well,
Nightmare.
I'm not happy because if this is really the third year in a row that this has happened during homecoming week, there should have been a lot more security presence. You know, one time you can understand, maybe the second time, but now after it happened again last year, this year they should have been ready for something like this. They didn't even apprehend the person, so it's like they were sleeping.
Are you taking her home, or are you going to stay with her for the next couple of days?
Well, we don't know yet because I want to speak to the faculty, the authorities in the school. I want to know how am I going to feel comfortable? How are they going to make me feel comfortable leaving my daughter behind?
You need some reassurance.
Yeah.
Mr. Verdejo, thank you so much for sharing your story with us this morning. Certainly appreciate it. I'm glad to know that your daughter is okay. They have canceled classes here on campus today, and they have counselors available for anyone who needs it. Megan, we're going to send it back to you because we do have live team coverage out here of this event.
Yeah, Jen, emotional reaction from that parent there. I know, very concerned. And we continue our team coverage with Janine Donaldson, who is also at Morgan State this morning. And Janine, school president Dr. David Wilson has already canceled classes, as we just heard, for all students and faculty. And what's the latest that you're hearing from them?
Well, right now, as you said, classes are canceled. It's not clear how homecoming will proceed. This is a week-long event, and the event that was taking place last night, as Jim was
Crazy.
describing, was coronation. And right in front of me is the Fine Arts Building. That's Carl J. Murphy. That's where the coronation takes place. If you look behind me, this is where the dorms are located on campus, and some of the students were headed in this direction. You pass the dorms, and then you keep heading straight down the path, and that's where you get to the student centers. Dr. David Wilson saying that's where students were headed when the shooting started. They were heading to the student center after coordination. Some students saying that they not only heard the gunshots, but could hear them actually hitting some of the glass on the building. The President Dr.
You
David
never
Wilson described
know.
the coronation
You
last
never
night
know
as a
how the
quote
day is going to
unbelievably
transpire. You
beautiful
never
event,
know.
saying that again
You
students
never
were headed to
know.
the student center afterward when that shooting started. He says he met with students and some parents and even helped escort some students safely back to their dorms last night. And this is a huge week for Morgan. Homecoming draws thousands of students, alumni, their families back to the campus, and folks from the community. But it also raises a lot of crucial money for the school. And right now, it's not clear how that will proceed. Take a listen to what Dr. Wilson had to say early this morning.
I can also say that I have canceled classes here at Morgan for tomorrow, and we will be assessing
Those who
what will
listen around the
happen for the
globe,
rest of the
Morgan State
homecoming week
University is in
as
Baltimore,
early as
Maryland.
tomorrow morning, and
It's
we'll
in
duly
Baltimore,
inform
Maryland,
you and others
where the
of
shooting took
any decisions
place
that we make in that regard.
last night. No,
Now, it was
yesterday.
mentioned just a few moments ago that this has happened in the past
So,
before. The past 2 years, there were shootings
so they
on
got to beef
campus
up
on
security
homecoming day.
and give
That's the event that
security
takes place on
and more
Saturday, and
trained
that prompted
officers and
rule
pay them
changes
more.
this year. For
That's the
instance, going into
problem.
the football game this year, you have to have a clear plastic bag. I know several of the buildings on campus that are typically open were going to be closed, and this is a public campus that typically stays open all the time. However, they were going to shut campus down early. All events had to be closed down early this year. So it was already some rule changes taking place. Right now, it's not clear how it will affect homecoming activities moving forward for this week, but we do expect to hear more from Dr. Wilson later this morning addressing that very issue. For now, live from Morgan State University, I'm Janine Donaldson for WBA.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was from the press breaking news from there is that WBAL TV, Baltimore News, and not a shooting again. Ongoing saga. Ongoing saga. And seems like it just keeps happening and no. I mean, they do have the active shooter training because once in a while, but they don't practice enough. They do have active shooter training, but and the problem is when you're not also paying officers the amount of money that good amount of money to do their jobs, they get slack. When you pay your staff low, they become slack. When you pay security low, there's no incentive to do a great job. There's no incentive to protect the community. You got to pay the officers what they're worth. That's number one. Because their job is to protect the campus. And if they're not getting the kind of income to make a living off of, they got to work 2, 3 jobs. They're going to be too tired to work to do a great job on the campus. They're going to be too tired to do an excellent job of protection on the campus. And I'm coming like that. I'm coming from that angle. Why? Because simple as this. I know what it is to work on a campus and you put on a uniform and you don't get no raise, there's no incentive, there's no support for the officers, and you got to rely on the outside police to handle whatever's going on campus. Active shooting has been ongoing since there's a numerous amount of active shootings since the 1960s in America, and it seems to be the same scenario. And the elite in high places do not want to change the gun laws because of money. I'm going to say it again. Because of the because of guns, because of the income, because of money, there's going to be no regulation of guns. To change the gun laws here because the elite or the powers that be have There's money in guns. There's money in mayhem. There's money in the power of armory and guns. And they're not. There's going to always be active shooters. This is not the only. There's going to be always these active shooters. Nothing's going to change. And therefore, God bless. And I would say, God bless. Nobody in this Morgan State shooting was killed. There was some 4 people that were hit, but nobody killed. Nobody lost their life. Thank God for that. Nobody hit. Nobody lost their life. Thank God for that. Thank God. It's not going to change the gun laws. There's money in this thing. And if the powers that be are refusing to change the gun laws, it's just a dried up old speech. Goes in one ear, goes out the other. Waste time. Speaking about regulation of guns, waste time. Talking about let's fight guns, waste of time. Because the powers that be do not want to change the regulation of guns because there's money in their pockets to be made. This is why shootings everywhere is not going to be changed. Nothing's going to be changed. It's an ongoing thing with people's mental health, ongoing thing, and maybe they can start there with regulating mental health, because a lot of ill mental ill mental health people out there. But in this case, they're not even sure how many people was doing the shooting. They're not sure how many active shooters were there in Morgan State College. They got to do an investigation. FBI is on the case. CIA is on the case. They got to do an investigation. But until the rules and regulations change, this is an ongoing thing. Nothing's gonna change. There'll still be shootings. There'll still be active shooters on campus. There'll be still shooting in certain places. There'll be still shooting in many places. But there's no budget to change the regulations because there's money in this thing. Mark my words. And the only thing you can do at this moment, at this time, is pray for God's protection. When you go in and you're coming out, that's the only thing you can do at this time, is pray for God's protection. Pray for God's protection. And if you go certain places, not everywhere on campuses, but on some campuses, and I can speak for it because I've been doing 25 years and over of campus police. I can speak on it. The officers need to get more pay. The officers need an incentive to do their job. Because if there's no incentive and there's no raise, they have. Don't get me wrong. There's some departments that do give the officers raise. They fight for it. Their unions fight for it, and they do give them raises on their job to do their job properly. But if there's no raise and there's no incentive to make the officers get more pay, and they have to work 2-3 jobs just to survive and feed their families, they're going to be sleeping. Like what the brother said that came for his daughter from New Jersey. It seemed like they were sleeping. And they're going to be more sleeping. Because if they're struggling to pay their bills and they have to work double just to make ends meet, double on their jobs, just double on the campus, just to make ends meet, 16-hour shifts. And if they got to do all that and then go run to a second job just to make ends meet, to put food on the table, guess what's going to happen to the campus? The officers are not going to show no effort. And they're still getting lowballed with the pay. They're not going to show no effort. And that's what's going to happen, folks. And if there are no regulations, if the powers that be refuse to change the gun laws, there will always be active shootings. So the only thing you can do, and I repeat myself again, the only thing you can do is pray for God's protection. And He will protect you. First thing you do in the morning, you pray. You don't get on your phone, you pray. Ask God to protect you. To protect your staff members, protect the students on the campus. If you're not working on the campus, you're working in a supermarket, pray for your co-workers for safety. Pray for the shoppers, consumers in the supermarket for their safety. You pray like no other. You pray, you pray. The Bible says pray without ceasing. You consistently pray for God's protection. Now the live word today is coming out of Proverbs 18 verses 10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous man run into it and he is safe. But this is Zacchaeus with another live word of the day. God bless and be safe out there. And if you like what I shared, smash that like button. Also subscribe to my channel, Zacchaeus Gospel Soca. Check me out. Got more videos coming for you. God bless and Godspeed. Be safe out there. Peace and blessings, y'all. And thanks for tuning in.